Hi everyone, this is Enudi Podcast with the people with an interesting title for our listening pleasure today. Away from the politics, we're going to be having a short but concise, non-fictional, interesting story titled "The Four in the House." And it goes, it was a rainy day. The day remained cloudy, quiet, as the rain drops in drizzling pattern, and sometimes heavy. I sat by my room window watching outside with such an anguish and uncertainty. Suddenly, something asked me to turn around, and lo, it was my mother, the one and only who has my back at all times. I looked at her, and she looked back into my eyes and quickly read into my mind what I was thinking. And she said, "I know what's in your mind, my son, but worry not, for all will be well." I held her hand in confusion and muttered a few words, mumbling in a low tone, but she asked me to speak up, and I asked her if she could interpret dreams, and she answered and said, "I am your mother. You were in my womb for 9 months, and I can do anything to help in my little capacity to assist in your growth and happiness. Just speak up and talk to me. It's just myself and you." I looked at her eyes, and once again I began saying what I have in my dream. It was an ugly dream I had the night before, where someone close tried to take away certain glory away from me. And she nodded her head as I narrated the dream. And when I finished, she said to me, "It's great telling me about this. I have this at the corner of your mind from today going forward, that what you've just said to me isn't a good dream. Not trying to scare or bring scary situation into your mind, because it wasn't a bad dream either. Rather, it's a revelation asking you to be very wary of your closest person revealed in your dream." She went further to remind me in an adage in our local parlance, which says that the termite which chops off the succulent innermost of any wood stays in that wood. I nodded my head once again in agreement, looking into her eye, and asked what that meant. And she smiled and said, "My son," in a low tone, "you won't understand, but know it today that nothing external could succeed in attacking you without an insider. Whenever you experience anything ugly, whether in your dreams or in reality, you may be suspecting whoever is in your black book. Oh, is that not so good neighbor, or my adversary at work, or some sudden stranger you came across in a bad traffic situation? But no, most spiritual and physical fisticuffs emanate from very closest persons to you. Unfortunately, families, friends, neighbors, and what have you. And unfortunately, once again, the number 4 in this category are your lineage. Outsiders cannot succeed in getting to you without this group. As humans, we pretend too much. We are like that mice which will be eating your food flesh in your sleep and blowing air into it to cushion the effect of your pain. It's sad, but that is the ugly truth. And I want you to have this registered in your mind from today, with some rules to follow. Rule number 1: try not to create enemies in your path to life. Stones, objects which are sometimes in the form of words will be thrown at you, but try as much as possible to be diplomatic about it and move on. It's not what you do to counter any adversary, but how you react to them that matters. Rule number 2. Try sometimes to exert where the limit lies in your life in a subtle manner. Not trying to be rude, but sometimes let people know where the limit lies. Rule number 3. It's impossible to please everyone. You only try as much as you can to be genuine and truthful. Do not mind if people misconstrue you. If you do the right thing, posterity will be the judge and you'll be vindicated at last. Rule number 4. Do not react to people calling you names that you do not deserve. People derive pleasure from destroying others. That's what some people do. But let me tell you today that if you've been wrongly called names, oftentimes most despicable names, do not worry, because your reward will come in such a shocking manner that will remind your adversaries that you do not deserve evilness but the best. God rewards those who does the right things with good life and enormous prosperity as a reparation for wrong judgments thrown at them. Rule number 5. Always be as calm as you can be. When you do that, it not only shows maturity in your side, but also exudes confidence building which fends off stubborn adversaries. Rule number 6. Smile and laugh as often as you can. It annoys / destroys the build-ups of your adversaries. When you do that, they often wonder where your confidence is coming from. Have this in your mind, that when you are great inside, it automatically radiates your beauty outside. Rule number 7. Regardless of shallow-mindedness from the public at times, always be your brother's keeper. Shower people with abundance of love that they deserve. It neutralizes their evilness, and oftentimes they have no choice but to return the favor. Above all, never allow your upbringing, your past, to define who you are. Just as you must continue to play this in your mind on a daily basis. I am the best, the chosen. I am a conqueror. I am fearless, and no one makes me less than a human without my consent. She looked into my eyes once again and said, "There's so many to tell you, my son, but I will stop at number 7. Significance of this number dates back to primordial days, which termed number 7 as a number which represents perfection. Remember the 7 wonders of the world. It also represents fullness of life, so don't despair." In the holy book, she continued, God came in contact with a huge multitude trying to stone a prostitute to death for having fornication outside wedlock. And God, in His infinite wisdom, asked only one question in a simple sentence: Who among you that have no sin should cast the first stone? And we all know the answer. The multitudes suddenly disappear. This tells us that we all have past stories to tell about ourselves, good or bad. Most people who desperately try to come hide on you behind your back may have been more despicable stories in their past, more garbage or more baggage of problems or evilness, but do not toe the lines as they do. as the shallow-minded ones do. Don't do that. Be you. We all have emotions, but it always takes a bigger person to exhibit wisdom and react to negative situations subtly, possible and positive, and move on with life unscathed. May God bless you as you listen. Again, do not cry, because these are lessons of life. It comes with the good, the bad, and the ugly, which apparently leaves us with a choice to make. Most people will choose to walk away from situations and humans that purposely belittles them, despite all efforts they put in pleasing them. And sometimes that is the best choice, so as to preserve your dignity and happiness. Thanks for listening. I remain blessed.